Hello everyone, and Happy New Year! Welcome to another exciting Camp Cretaceous video. The release date for Season 2 of Camp Cretaceous is coming up fast, and I'm really excited. There's so many things to look forward to. More dinosaurs and more adventures. Some of the things I'm really looking forward to seeing are Ben and Bumpy, and how they'll hopefully reunite with the other survivors. That's right, Ben's still out there, because if you remember from the Season 1 finale, it was revealed that Ben actually survived the fall, and is in fact alive. This begs the question, how did Ben survive the fall? Well, that's what I'm going to talk about today. I'm going to talk about how I think Ben survived the fall at the end of Season 1. Please keep in mind that this is not a theory video. This is mainly speculation and exploring ideas. With that said, let's get started. I think the best place to start off is where we last saw Ben, so here's a quick recap of the event in question. In the Season 1 finale, Ben got separated from the survivors when he fell from the monorail car and disappeared, while a couple of pteranodons flew down after him as he fell. The next day, Bumpy, who also got separated from the survivors, finds Ben lying in the dirt. Ben appears to still be alive, as he's slowly breathing and his fingers begin to move. And that's the end of Season 1. So is that it? I don't think so. I think there's more to Ben's fall than what we've seen, because something just doesn't add up. If Ben had landed in the jungle right where Bumpy found him, the pteranodons pursuing him would have killed him by that point. This leads me to believe that Ben did not just simply land in the jungle at the exact spot where Bumpy found him. Now you may be asking, if Ben didn't land in the jungle, where did he land? And how did he get to where he was found? Well, here's my hypothesis. I suspect that Ben actually landed in water, like a stream or a river, rather than on the ground. That could explain how Ben survived the initial fall from the monorail, but what about the pteranodons? He still had angry pteranodons chasing after him. There's no way Ben would be able to outswim them, so in terms of escaping the pteranodons, the best case scenario I can think of is that maybe Ben just got lucky like Billy Brennan did in Jurassic Park 3. Maybe the current carried Ben downstream to an area with thick, dense foliage overhead that prevented the pteranodons from reaching him. Something along those lines at least. I understand there's a bit of luck involved, but it does sound a bit more plausible than before. Some of you might want to call a timeout and re-examine the event in question, so let's do that. If we rewatch the scene of Ben's fall, yes, it is unclear exactly where Ben landed, because for one thing, it's very dark, and another thing, Ben disappears very quickly. Even if I play the clip in slow motion, Ben still leaves the screen before he lands, so I completely understand that you might be skeptical. But believe it or not, the answer may have been right in front of us the whole time. Let me explain. When I was making the thumbnail for this video, I discovered something completely by accident. Now I mainly use Photopad to edit pictures, and this is the screenshot of Ben that I used for the thumbnail. As I mentioned earlier, it's very dark, so I tried to play around with the brightness, sharpness, etc. to make things stand out better. I then clicked on the Auto Fix Retouch option. What I didn't realize was that Photopad automatically sets the intensity to max by default, so the picture ended up looking like this. Whoops. But this was actually a good thing, because now look at it. We can see much more now. So let's take a look here. We can clearly see some green to the left and just in the top right corner. So I think it's safe to say that these are the trees of the jungle. As for the rest of the area surrounding Ben, there's lots of blue. Blue like water, perhaps? Now, I understand you might still be skeptical about the idea of Ben landing in water if you only go off of an enhanced picture in Photopad, but that's okay, because even if we completely disregard the Photopad blooper and forget all about it, there's still one more clue from the show that supports the idea of Ben landing in water. I noticed this clue way before the Photopad blooper happened, but I wanted to save the best for last, so here it is. Just before Bumpy finds Ben lying in the dirt, she finds what appears to be a mud puddle. As she's running towards Ben, she passes by what appear to be other mud puddles as well. They seem to be in a linear pattern, almost like footprints. When she reaches Ben, you can see that he's covered in mud, much more than he was before the fall. And where there's mud, there's earth and water. After Ben either swam away or was carried away by the current, Ben reached a shoreline and struggled to get onto the land, which could be how he got covered in mud. Once he was ashore, he trudged through the dirt, leaving behind the mud puddles / tracks that Bumpy ran by. Finally, Ben collapsed from exhaustion, and would later be found by Bumpy in this very spot. So to summarize my hypothesis, Ben fell from the monorail into the water, went downstream and escaped the pteranodons, swam to shore, and then collapsed. Eventually, Bumpy would find him in the jungle. And that's how I think Ben survived the fall. To conclude this discussion, I understand that this is just speculation at this point, but this is what cliffhangers are for, to get the audience thinking. So we'll just have to wait and see when Season 2 comes out. But don't worry, it won't be too much longer. Just hang in there, guys. With that said, this concludes another Camp Cretaceous video by Jeremy James Prutchick. How do you think Ben survived the fall? Let's have some fun and talk about it in the comments. Thank you for watching. If you're new here and you want to see more Camp Cretaceous and Jurassic Park / World videos, check out my channel, and I'd be really happy if you could subscribe to me. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.